Welcome back to Cast Me to Hell with me, Seb.
And with me, Robbie.
And this week we are looking, reviewing and checking out Nicolas Cage's Willy's Wonderland.
It was a film that I wanted to check out pretty much instantly, to be honest. Nicolas Cage has been doing these really weird films. Like, I always remember from Nicolas Cage, like, he had a period where he won an Oscar, and he did like really good.
Yeah, Leaving Las
Vegas.
He did all these kind of actiony films like Con Air, The Rock, and like just badass films.
And then he did like the earliest Cage film I remember is Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah.
And then obviously he did stuff like Season of the Witch,
National Treasure. Next. I don't know why that pops into my head.
He did all of these weird big budget films that everybody hated, critically panned.
Not National Treasure, by the way. National
Treasure
is a national treasure.
Yeah.
You can't deny that one. But yes, you're right about most of those ones were just. It was like he was just making constant terrible decisions.
Well, I think apparently I heard that he spent all his money. Yeah, and even on like castles in Scotland and stuff. So he was broke.
Comic books. He had he had literally like one of the most expensive. In fact, I believe he had like the first of Superman or something. Like that. And it got stolen or something like that. So he literally he just was basically just giving away money.
Yeah, but then he kind of had like this resurgence where he started making all of these small.
He went even lower than the knowing and stuff like that. That was going to a certain point, but he went down to we're talking direct to DVD kind of level of.
But he did Mandy, he did Colour Out of Space, he did Prisoners of the Ghostlands, and Willy's Wonderland. He started, he does these.
He started to do small. At first, he was doing directed literally just shit. Just action.
They all do that.
The stuff that you see a lot of it now. Obviously, Bruce Willis in his downturn. We understand why he was suddenly making so many projects, and it normally does tend to be it's money. It's I guess it's their job, and they're just taking anything they can. Nicolas Cage was absolutely skint, as he said, and when he was making especially those direct-to-DVD ones, he was literally bankrupt completely. So he needed to make any project that they would give him. If they'd put something in front of him, he would do it. The same reason, I believe that Bruce Willis was doing anything and everything because of what we found out now of what was happening. John Travolta basically had to support a family by himself. He had to just do whatever he could do.
Yeah.
So all of them actually have a kind of a sad reason for why
it really is,
they've had to do. A lot of them are these class A actors, and people are like, why did they make these shit? And it's actually normally because they're either broke. I mean, Nicolas Cage is a little bit less sad. It seems like he did it to himself by just being Nicolas Cage and being like, you want to buy a gold toilet? Fuck yes, I'll buy a gold toilet. You know what I mean? But you're right. He started, but in between making these, it also meant that upcoming filmmakers actually started to be like, you know what, Nicolas Cage, and he started to seek out ones that, yes, could still make him some money, but also could be he could star in it just to do. So like you said with Mandy, and he did ones that are more Pig and stuff like that recently, and that's obviously as his uptick kind of thing. And he was rarely in any big blockbusters. And he hasn't really been in any major ones for quite a long time now.
But Nicolas Cage has always had this weird energy.
Oh,
and these films, these films kind of allow him to channel that really. Yeah, which is kind of what I love. And I mean, jumping straight into Willy's Wonderland is. For those who haven't seen it, it's basically like Five Nights at Freddy's,
It definitely is. So whoever made this is taking inspiration without having the IP of Five Nights at Freddy's,
which is being made apparently.
Yes, it is with Matthew Lillard and Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah, and
which is an interesting combo. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, but my main thing is it is such a weird thing because we don't have these in the UK. We don't have
Chuck E. Cheese
or weird animated kids restaurants, which we had some weird.
They look badass, stuff. By the way.
They look badass, but they look badass until they're 10 years where they've been closed, and you're like, that's actually really creepy.
Yeah.
So I can see the appeal to the film, and I think this is one of the main things that kind of struck me about Willy's Wonderland in particular is we're getting a lot of these kind of like 80s throwback films.
Yeah, and Banana Splits, which I haven't seen it, but there's one Banana Splits film which kind of has a similar kind of...
Yeah, and
we've got 80s nostalgia going on, obviously.
But and away from the idea of just like, you know, like the neon lights and the synth music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this film for me had more of like an actual feeling, like I could imagine this coming out in the 80s, because it's a weird enough premise and it kind of just gets into it, you know.
It does, and I mean, you've obviously, again, with Nicolas Cage, you've got a completely silent...
Which is awesome.
No, he has no dialogue. He doesn't have a single line of dialogue.
He's just called the janitor.
Yeah, apart from making occasional noises and the crazy sounds, which is kind of, I guess, all you want out of Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
It's not so much about the dialogue all the time. Not that he doesn't have amazing dialogue when he's got it, but you kind of just want him to just stand there, be a bit crazy and make some noises. And you're like, yeah. And the fact that, I mean, there's a part of me that wonders in one way whether this was written for him like that, or whether Nicolas Cage was like, yeah, I'll do it, but my idea is I'm this silent badass. I've got a badass car, I've got badass glasses, I play pinball for half the film.
And just Kane energy.
And that's it, and Kane pop.
Yeah, and well, it started as it was a little script. And then it was on a website. I'm not sure what the website was. And from there, it just started to slowly pick up traction, and then got into a feature-length film, a feature-length project. And then Nicolas Cage actually heard about it, and I believe he reached out to them and was like, "Sounds fucking badass." So, like you said, maybe he was like, why don't I not do anything and just batter animatronic robots? Because that's kind of what it is.
I don't know why. I just have this strong feeling that this is his character choice. Absolutely. Yeah. This is Nicolas Cage coming onto a film and basically being like, I love it, but I want to be this. This is what I want to be. Yeah. I want to be this silent, like almost in his head, like, I'm going to be a futuristic silent samurai. Yeah. I'm going to bend people's minds with this, and I will destroy anything that comes near me. But I'll also only be on set for this many days, so most of your shots you need to make are with one thing. And that's a goddamn pinball. I will play no other game but pinball. They'll be like, do you want to play like an 80s, like, do you want to play Pac-Man? No, goddamn pinball.
Yeah, but so like the film begins when the janitor, as we were just calling him, it's weird not to have a name for a character. I love that.
But it works with the character because he's basically an anonymous. He's just a mystery,
and it works with the film because there's so few characters in it. Yeah. But he's driving in Hayesville, Nevada, and his tires pop. So the local mechanic comes and says, like, I can, and the owner, Tex McAdoo, I love the name, and he says, we can fix it, there's no ATMs nearby or anything, but if you stay overnight and clean it, and clean, Willy's Wonderland, then we'll fix your car for free and you can drive in the morning. And it's a cool premise because it gets straight into it.
One thing, I love the fact that the guy basically just reminded me of the Texan out of Simpsons.
Yeah.
Basically like he's got his guns and things like that. And I also love that the mechanic was constantly had in his mouth, which I couldn't work out. Because in my head I was thinking, logistically I was thinking that must be some kind of tobacco. That must be some kind of cigar. But from the look of it, it looked like he was just constantly chewing on a pepperoni.
I think he might have been.
It just looked like it looked like throughout the film he has different ranging sizes of salamis that he is slowly nibbling on while he's talking to people. Like he's chewing on a cigar, but he's actually chewing on a salami.
This kind of sounds like quite cool, to be honest. I'm a fan of deli meats.
I mean, yeah, it kind of made me want a pepperoni. It kind of made me want to just walk around like this badass, like, yeah, I just chew on salami. you guys think you're cool for smoking that tobacco, but I'm here with my salami. You can't beat that. Yeah. You can't be chewing salami walking down the street level of cool.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of the the episode of It's Always Sunny with the chewing gum, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's like I want that.
The top dog's always grazing.
The top dog's always grazing. Yeah, and it's just like that. He's just chewing this like bit of pepperoni. But I don't know. There's just something about the film which, for me, balances this really like fun, like humorous side with some really. It's pretty brutal in places, and then it's also actually really quite creepy. Like when we first go in there, and the janitor's just like, "Nah, fuck it, I'm just gonna get to it," and he's just cleaning.
There is an amazing. This is the thing. Like, I think almost this film so easily could have been terrible.
Oh yeah, it could have.
Like so, like easily. Like there's a balance of this thing. So like we said, like Five Nights at Freddy. So Five Nights at Freddy just basically, I mean, I've only actually ever played it on a mobile, but like it's basically like you're watching on the security cameras. You change between them, and each time it gets moved. I know there's been different versions now, but I'm pretty sure the original was just like you're basically like the security guard watching the cameras.
Security guard,
and it goes around and it slowly gets closer. And to be fair, that concept worked really well because it is actually a pretty creepy thing where you're like suddenly like, oh shit, and this obviously is taking inspiration from that kind of idea. But but the way it builds straight away, like you said, like when he walks in, it's legitimately kind of a. You do see the characters like in shadows and stuff throughout the film in the background, like slowly, like sometimes they start to slowly get closer and closer. So it really works with that kind of. It's an old place that's got lots of shadowy corners and shadowy areas, and it's also kind of cool to just see this kind of rundown kind of place. But what balances it is Nicolas Cage is just. He's just getting on with it. Like he could have just walked in and just done fuck all for the whole time, but instead there's something almost charming about the fact that this guy seems to be like a mysterious badass. Yeah, but he does the work. Yeah, he's proper doing the work. Like, and you're just following him. And I'm not sure how many actors I could have just watched basically in some extended scenes where he's just cleaning, and I'm just like, I'm down for just watching Nicolas Cage clean.
Well, we just we get like we see him cleaning, and then we see there's I can never remember I can't remember the woman's name, so I'm gonna Google her. It's Liv, and she turns up, and her and her friends are kind of like attempt to burn it down. Yeah, to burn the building down, and then
she's like been caught at the start, hasn't she, by the cop?
She's been caught at the start.
I don't know what her name is, but she's quite a character actor or something.
Yeah, I really recognised her in something. I'm gonna have to Google.
She's been in a whole bunch of things. For some reason, the only thing that pops in my head is I know she definitely showed up in My Name Is Earl. She's definitely an actor like that. But she's been in other horror films as well.
Yeah, but there was one.
She always plays like she always plays like a country woman, or I don't know, or something like that, like a mother, or
it's Beth Grant.
Is she not in? I feel like she. I don't know why. I feel like she's in one of the Texas Chainsaw remakes.
I feel like she is.
And I feel like, or if she's not, she seems perfect for the role. Well, so cast her in the next one.
So she was in Child's Play 2. She was in Dr. Dolittle, your favourite film. She's in Donnie Darko.
Are we talking about Eddie Murphy?
Yes, the original.
There you go.
She was in Pearl Harbor. I think it might be Donnie Darko that I feel like she really sticks in my mind from, because she's, like you said, she's.
I've seen her in definitely much. In TV. I've seen her in loads of roles. She's been in so much. I'm sure she's. Like I said, I'm sure she's been. She's in. I'm pretty sure she's in Friends as like a crazy lady that finds that gives.
She's in episode.
Gives Phoebe the can of thing that has the thumb inside of it.
Yep, she's that episode, one. The one with the thumb.
I'm pretty sure she's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. My Name Is Earl. She's been in so much TV, but
The X-Files.
The X-Files, yeah.
Malcolm in the Middle, Diagnosis Murder. Yeah, she is.
She's a hard-working actress.
My Name Is Earl.
Yeah, I knew she was. She's
The Office. This is where I knew her from. She is Dwight's babysitter.
She's Dwight's babysitter.
That's how I knew her.
Yeah, she's Dwight's.
But she's in so much.
But she is in so much, and I'd be surprised if there aren't more horror credits on there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
She seems perfect for horror. But again, oddly though, she's normally typecast as like. I don't know, the mother or the older lady or things like that. Yeah. And weirdly, the fact that she's like the cop in this one is actually seems like quite nice that she's getting a slightly different.
And she gets a bit more to do than usual.
And she comes across, she is kind of like a there's a conflict actually that we get, even though we don't get loads of her. There is actually the conflict that we get in lots of scenes with her, between the fact that she's because she's the guardian of Liv, isn't she?
Yeah, she's Liv's guardian.
So that kind of changes, because at the start you don't know that when she arrests her, but then she puts her inside of like a. You think she's almost being like kidnapped at the start because she's put inside, but it doesn't make it clear that she's her guardian at the start.
Not until later.
So she's kind of locked in. So you're like, this is a kind of this cop is a bitch, basically.
Yeah.
Like, she can't do that. She can't lock you in there. And yeah, as we kind of go later, we get the group of friends who are all right. I mean, they're just cannon fodder.
They're just cannon fodder.
Yeah.
Which I'm not against, man. You need cannon fodder.
I literally did think that this film was literally just Nicolas Cage, purely only Nicolas Cage, literally in the place. So the fact that there was some people to get killed off, because I was like, well, you're not killing off Nicolas Cage. So it was nice to get some people to die, basically, because I literally thought that this film was secluded. It was purely just, they'd got Nicolas Cage, they got some robots, and they were like him versus robots.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. So I like that there were a few people.
They're scary, but more Five Night at Freddy, I thought it was going to be more just constantly just mainly popping out at him and him trying to averting them kind of thing. And
I didn't think
what we get is not what I imagined, and that's Nicolas Cage.
I thought he'd be in there and then he'd be like, these things are trying to kill me, I'm gonna try and escape. But instead he's just like, I'm in here, these things are trying to kill me, but I must clean. Yeah. I love it. Like,
it's not Nicolas Cage is in here with monsters that are trying to kill him. It's the fact that monsters are stuck with Nicolas Cage is basically what it is.
Literally,
it's you should never be stuck alone with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah,
because you don't know what's going to happen.
Well, I love the first, because the mascots we get are obviously Willy Weasel, the main boy, Artie Alligator, Cammy Chameleon, Ozzy Ostrich, Nighty Night, Tito Turtle, Gus Gorilla, and Siren Sarah. And I love that the shot of the janitor just cleaning, and then as like behind him we see Ozzy the ostrich, and then he just fucking murks him with a broom, just batters him. And one of the parts I love about the film. I thought you were going to say
one of my dreams is to get battered by Nicolas Cage.
No, one of my dreams is to kill an ostrich with a broom. I just love that after he's killed each one, he just bags them up.
At my wedding later this year, there's an ostrich farm right behind the barn. Wow. Like, there's ostriches there, which now means I have to tell them to look out for the best man.
Yeah,
which is Robbie, by the way. But I need to tell them to look out for the best man. They'll be like the next day, why we found a broom and several dead ostriches.
Yeah.
Ah, shit, we drank too much last night.
Yeah, we killed him. Yeah. But yeah, I just think it's like that's awesome. And then we get a scene where Liv enters to kind of tell the janitor, because he's in there, he's locked in, and
he gives no shits.
He don't give a fuck.
He doesn't care. He's like, I'm here for. I've got a deal. That's the deal.
And he cleans. I love that he cleans the bathroom, and we watch him clean all of the bathroom, and then he gets attacked by the gorilla, and he just curb stomps the gorilla's head in. And it's so fucking funny, man.
And it's this kind of odd, like, it's like an oil, but it kind of has a kind of reddish, like a blood. It's kind of But it's brutal the way that these guys are dispatched, and you're kind of like, oh shit, you shouldn't have fucked with him.
You shouldn't have, but it's so class. Like,
but as I said, I found something weirdly soothing about just watching Nicolas Cage cleaning.
Yeah, well, it was very mindful.
Just cleaning the thing, you're just there like, look how nice and clean he's got that.
Yeah, it was awesome. The man doing a thorough job.
Hire Nicolas Cage to clean the bathroom today.
To clean it.
He might burn it down after he's cleaned it, but
But it was awesome, man. And then obviously, as Liv goes in, she gets chased by Artie, and then we kind of get the rest of the boy, like the rest of her friends, climb in.
Well, they'll collapse to the ceiling. Don't
they all climb on the roof, and
they end up in like the ball pit and stuff like that.
Yeah, they end up in the ball pit
because she's like, "Why the fuck are you here?" And it's like, "Oh,
you fell through the roof." Yeah. And there are some like interesting scenes that I think are really actually quite like terrifying. And it's the main ones for me is because I think it's around this time we get the reveal that like the town, this is a setup that they've got. We don't find out why it's been. So his
tires were burst. His tires were reason to bring him there, and
then everybody's gets the same deal made, and we kind of see this montage of different families or different travellers who have been tricked into doing this.
Yeah.
Because the open
scene, I was going to say, we just missed that opening scene.
Completely.
Completely missed that, where we've got this weird kind of two people, a woman and a man, being kind of chased through the middle of the, what still looks like the open kind of, it's still open at that time, like at late at night, and they're kind of running through, and we get this kind of brutal dispatch, but we don't fully see it.
No.
Until later on, when it's revealed that is actually Liv's parents.
Yeah.
And she's the little girl. I think you get a reveal of a little girl at the start. So you just assume they're all dead, basically.
Yeah, you see a little girl, and I think Tex McAdoo finds her, or maybe the police officer finds her, which is why
I think that's what happens. Yeah, she finds her and hidden in that, because they see basically the dead bodies of the parents. I think the mum's like beheaded.
Yeah,
and like they see that, and then they find her just hidden in the closet. So they obviously just missed her or something. Yeah, like that.
And then we get the backstory of the animatronics, which is because obviously I think as they break in, the janitor keeps cleaning and is like, I don't give a fuck, and then we get another flashback of when it was open. And it was owned by Jerry Robert Willy's Wonderland, who was a serial killer, and then he had like 7 cannibalistic colleagues who murdered people
like
at the fair.
Cult, wasn't it?
Yeah, who had like a little cult, and then.
But it's cool because it's creepy and unsettling, because it's a lot of the deaths here are to do with like kids and whole families, and the fact that they take them like out into a special room. They've got like a special room for them all,
like a birthday room or something.
Yeah, and you get like this one shot of like a family kind of enjoying around the cake, but it's just them in the room, so it feels weirdly secluded. And then you get them all start to gather around them, and then you see like blood splattering and them getting like decapitated or pulled apart, or like basically going for a nice munch.
Yeah, and then obviously the police clock on, because I think they say like they started to notice that like the suits were like covered in blood or dripping blood and smelling like rot, which is fucking gross.
Yeah,
and then they obviously Willy and his crew transfer the souls into the animatronics, and the one thing I love is like, that's it. That's your explanation, which makes me feel like it's a film from the 80s, because it has this very like bizarre plot that you wouldn't usually get, but it just says, it's just like, well, that's it. And now we're not going to be talking about demonic possession. We're not going to be talking about anything.
It's straightforward. We don't need to. We don't
belt
need to
braces, man.
We don't need to do that, which is why we kind of love the 80s for that kind of thing, because. There's nothing more worse than some of the things they have in recent horror films, where they just feel like they have to keep on fucking going on about it.
And they have to keep explaining things.
Who gives a shit? Like, you're not doing anything unless you've got something really original to say. Then we don't care.
Yeah.
We get the point. Get on with the killing.
Yeah, and it kind of endears me to the film, And then we get Nighty Night impaling her friend, which is cool.
Yeah.
And then I think. We get a couple of cool scenes here where I think there's a guy and a girl who have snuck off to the birthday room, and they're fucking on the bed. Yeah, and I think the crocodile's in there with them, and there might be another one that's in there, and then the other friend kind of runs into the room with the strobe lighting. And he gets gobbled up by another couple of them, and it's that cool. It's that thing of like, well, we've explained the cannibalistic killers who are in, who are in these things. Now you're just gonna die.
Yeah,
and we kill off like.
I was gonna say they get free because they're kind of having sex, but they also get kind of the crocodile's properly like tearing into the guy's chest.
Yeah,
and she tries to get away, but you see her get pulled, and then obviously. Outside, I was about to call Nicolas Cage's character Willy.
So Willy,
the janitor and Liv are outside. She's trying to get inside, and he's basically, without any dialogue again, is basically trying to be like, I'd just go.
Yeah,
like basically just being like, you should like get out, like trying to push her out. Kind of, you get out, and then him kind of walking in and being like, here, me the alligator.
Yeah, well, I love that he decapitates Nighty Night. And then he does the kill that I really wanted him to do to the alligator, where he just rips the jaws open.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I've been playing loads of God of War recently, and I was watching this, and I was like, is this Nicolas Cage's like audition for like Kratos? Because some of the kills he does are just absolutely brutal, like ripping the crocodile's jaws open, curb stomping the gorilla. You know, it's just like so violent.
They are,
it's so cool.
Well, it's what raises it is the fact that it's just Nicolas Cage going brutal on robots, basically.
There was one scene that I didn't expect. So Liv's boyfriend, or like her like closest friend, he's got feelings for her, but I don't know if she's into it. He gets stalked by the chameleon into like the arcade.
I liked this.
It was a really cool scene.
He basically goes inside of the claw-like machine, when you like drop it down kind of thing. He hides inside of there.
Yeah, and then whilst he's hiding there, we then get the reveal from the police officer that after they kind of shut Willy's down, the animatronics were kind of murdering people around town.
So they were getting out at night.
They were getting out at night and killing people, which is a cool idea. And yet again, it's done in like quite a creepy montage.
Of like body parts and just like people dead in like the streets or dead in alleys, and or where you could see a trail that was basically led back to there. So that's how they kind of led it back, because they were like the bodies are literally basically being the parts left are trailing back towards the. And
then I think they make the deal with the animatronics, and I think that's when we see that's actually when we see the montage of them and the multiple people who they've kind of tricked into cleaning it. I think that's when we see it as well. It's just, I don't know why, it's really fucking cool. I was just watching it and I was like, it's an oddly hard one to say, because I can't say that there's a lot of plot here. It's not really a lot of plot. It's a lot of scenes. It's a lot of scenes of Nicolas Cage cleaning on a pinball machine, drinking soda, or basically just brutally destroying a bunch of robots. You know, and in between that, we've got more plot probably from Liv's side, where she's got the backstory of, you know, the fact that her parents were killed and that she's been looked after in this town, and she's always had a vendetta against it, tried to destroy it, but there are whatever reason there's been things that have got in the way or stopped her from doing that, or stopped her from leaving the town that she's wanted to leave. I mean, for me, one of the main things is that I think, it doesn't have... It's very bare bones. Like you said, it's just him playing ping pong, him cleaning, him smashing in like a robot, and then a couple of other pieces. But the film's only 88 minutes long. Yeah. And I think it's paced really well. It's almost like, because it's so bare bones, but it's very short. It's very concise in what it wants to do. The only bit I don't really like is at the very end. But apart from that, it's almost like it just wants to be fun. It's like, I'm not trying to really have a message. I just want to make a fun film that's partly scary, partly gory.
It almost goes into the brand of Nicolas Cage of balls to the wall kind of thing. Yeah. It's basically like almost a perfect Nicolas Cage vehicle. Yeah. You know, and it does fully delve into that. And it is a film that definitely, it would fall apart if it went on very much longer.
Yeah, kind of like another
towards the end, I feel like it does start to be a little bit like, we've seen you destroy several of these now, and you've already dispatched all of the friends except for you know, so you've kind of did, and they felt like they died pretty fast. Like, they felt like they all kind of went in a fairly quick order once they were inside.
I mean, the way that's why I was so shocked when her friend died, you know, because we get the part about the animatronics and the deal that they made, and then the police officer adopting Liv and kind of looking after her, and obviously I think she's rung, or one of them's rung the police to say, we're here. So they head over there to try and save them.
Because they're just sat waiting for... You've basically just got the two cops just sat waiting for the call to come in that something's gone wrong, basically. Yeah. Sat there talking. And then, even then, when she gets towards it, she seems to take a long ass time, because she sits outside in the car at one time having a nap. Yeah. It's very... I was a bit like, this doesn't seem too urgent, but I don't think that's when Liv had called. I think that's when someone else said of a disturbance going on. Or something like
they said something like that. But then it's when her boyfriend or whatever, Chris, when he dies, I didn't expect him to die, because we'd had, you know, 3 people dispatched quite quickly.
Yeah.
And then she lures him out saying, I'm not like the other ones and I'm not going to hurt you. And then the janitor...
And the voice kind of changes as well, which is kind of creepy.
Yeah. And then, the tongue flies out and snaps his neck. I was like, fucking hell. I really didn't expect it. I expected the janitor to just...
No, because I think there's the one thing that changes. The first few feel very animatronic costumes. There's not really too much else to them. But then we get which is that? I can't remember what
it's called. It's Cami Chameleon.
The Cami Chameleon with the tongue, which again feels like an extra feature. And then we've got which is the one that's like a fairy. That plays
Sarah.
Almost feels like at times like the second main antagonist.
Siren Sarah.
Siren Sarah, and she's got that creepy smile with what looks almost like actual like teeth or things underneath. Yeah. Like literally looks like there's a demon hiding underneath that robot. Because obviously she's the one that looks most like a person just in a costume.
Yeah,
looks like someone kind of just looks like someone where they've added stuff around it, but the hands and stuff almost just look like the person's hands.
Yeah, definitely.
But she's kind of the one that constantly seems to evade dying, and kind of keeps popping back up later and later and later. And obviously it all builds to the Willy fight, obviously.
Yeah, it does. But there's a cool bit where the police officer does go in, and they she chains the janitor up and takes Liv away, and then obviously they end up getting attacked by Tito, but Liv manages to escape. I think she shoots Tito with a shotgun or something like that. It's quite cool.
Yeah.
And then we get back in, and the janitor's the janitor's tied up, and you think like, oh, Sarah and Cammy are gonna have a pop here, but then he just breaks out, and I love that he just twists Cammy's fucking neck and just kills her, and it's so easy. And then the sheriff goes back in and has a shotgun to the janitor and is saying come and kill him and stuff like that. And then we see her get ripped in half, which is awesome.
Yeah, Willie's the one that is behind her.
Willie's the only one left. So
literally, which is cool. It's a cool effect as well, because you properly get to almost see the slicing and stuff like that, and see the two parts kind of come away.
Yeah,
which is always a cool effect.
And it's not made on a massive budget. It's like $5 million.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm surprised it was even that high. So and you can tell where most of that's gone into the costumes.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Apart from that, the setting and the costumes, pretty much where most of it is gone. The little feature that is always so cool throughout is that every time he gets dirty, he changes his shirt to a different Willy's Wonderland tone.
Yeah.
So I just love that little part where it's just there's always that little thing where he looks down at himself and it's just new shirt.
Yeah, and he just has to drink every
and
half
then
an hour.
Every half. It's almost that's why it has this crazy. And I know that Nicolas Cage has got this huge Japan anime kind of video games, comics. He's a giant nerd.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the pinball machine and the drinks are his energy refuel. Every time between them, he has to just play. Which again, I do believe is partially them filling in the fact that they didn't actually have him to film for too long. I feel like at times, I feel like they shot this long shot so they can just keep putting him back in to do this. Though it's basically for an hour, can you just do different roles of you drinking and playing that, and we're just going to spread that throughout the film just to make sure we wedge something in for you're not gone for too long.
Well, there's a great scene just after Chris has had his neck snapped by Cammy, where they're about to fight and his alarm goes off and he just leaves Liv to fight Cammy herself and just has a drink and plays pinball.
Yeah, exactly. He's
just
so funny.
There.
And it's funny because he goes from a kind of quite at first quite serious to then by the time he's had quite a few of those he's dancing around and he's just tapping the pinball machine and he's just loving it. He's loving life. And that is, I mean, again, most people have pretty much only come for this film. Maybe the robot, the whole Chuck E. Cheese kind of thing has drawn you in, but you pretty much just come because you want Nicolas Cage to see him destroy it, and it gives you exactly what you want.
Oh yeah.
And it gives you basically are coming to watch the brand that is crazy Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
There's actor Nicolas Cage. There's some and he can be a very good actor, even a serious actor when he wants to be. He's a very good actor in many ways.
Yeah, he is.
But there's also the crazy Nicolas Cage, which everyone just loves in its own way. I mean, we've got all of these memes and online, and and the one that's doing the rounds like crazy at the moment is the clip of him in Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with him and Pedro Pascal. Where you've got him looking dazed and like drugged, and then Pedro Pascal with his thing, and just any number of things that you could put between between one side to the other.
Not only that, but they made a film about him being just him being him,
being basically a star that has run his course almost. A star that is like down on money and basically will take anything that people give him because no one's hiring him. Yeah. Which is exactly what the film is, but also exactly where he was. And then basically going into the fact that his craziness could save the world, basically.
Yeah, it's so good. And I love this stage of Nicolas Cage's career.
I like the fact that he's in this, not so keen when it goes. He's still occasionally doing the ones that are just pure direct-to-DVD kind of rubbish. But when he goes into these interesting kind of indie kind of...
Yeah.
Or filmmakers who don't make big money but are interesting in their own way, like he has with ones like Colour of Love and... Is it Colour of Love?
Colour of Space?
Colour of Space. It might be that
the
one.
Lovecraft one.
And Mandy and... is it?
Prisoners
of
the
Ghost. It's not Mud, is it? Mud? He did something similar to that. I think that's Matthew McConaughey. But there's another one similar to that. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But yeah, when he's doing these ones, these are interesting roles that we're getting to take part in. And I know that this one doesn't probably fall into the same kind of. Some of those are much more like in a bit more of the serious realm, or taken a bit more critically, loved upon. But I just like the fact that he's fully just going to it and seems to be just enjoying picking projects. He's just like, that sounds like fun. I'll just do what I want to do. You almost literally look at it and go, I kind of wish other actors would be that free to go, fuck it. I've got nothing to lose here. And I might as well just make the money. Let's make this money and let's do what I want to do. But also, let's do so. If I'm going to make money for nothing, let's do some interesting projects, which again is what a lot of the other actors in this situation, for whatever reason, good or bad, a lot of them will just go for them and just do certain ones, probably the ones that offer a bit more money, even if they're still cheap crap. Whereas he doesn't seem to be completely led by the money. He seems to be more led by, that sounds like fun. I'm going to do that.
Maybe he learned how to budget. I don't know.
Because
it does seem like he's just doing more what he wants now.
Yeah, which is commendable. And I think he has built his money back up now better after doing them for so long. It's been literally like a lot of those ones like Next and stuff like that. He said, we were in that was like our high school to early college years. That was like 10 years ago. Yeah, that was like over 10 years ago now. Like when he was doing those films, he's done about 10 years of these direct to DVD streaming whatever kind of films. So I think he's built his money back up, but now he's just still going with it. And obviously, why dip your toe back in? I'm sure the box office and stuff like that is such a shitty ground to be in, because it's like, if you don't make enough, even to be fair, a lot of people thought that Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent would make a lot of money, but that didn't actually do that well either. Even though people were loving it and loving Nicolas Cage's craziness, they still didn't go fully in for the whole, I'm going to watch a whole film about that kind of thing. And it's such a mixed bag out there, but he is getting these things, like we were talking before, like he's doing Renfield and getting to be Dracula, and pretty much that's the main reason we want to see the film. It's not so much for Nicholas Hoult as Renfield. It's for Nicolas Cage in occasional scenes. Probably from the trailer, it didn't look like he's in it probably too much actually, but it's still like I want to see him be classic, almost Christopher Lee but crazy Nicolas Cage. Christopher Lee kind of level of Dracula. I'm all in for getting a look at that one. I'm sure we'll bring that to you at some point.
Because then basically, just to kind of finish the film off, Willy and the janitor fight a bit, and the janitor just batters him with a bag of cans, which I love, and then rips his head off, and Tex and Jed return the next morning, and they open it expecting, it's going to be a bloodbath, but the place is completely clean.
He finishes off Willy and then literally finishes off Willy.
And
then he literally he must have then spent the rest of the time continuing to clean the place up. And again, it's something that I love about this weird ass character is you don't know, and he doesn't seem to. he doesn't seem to care too much. Nothing he does is necessary to actually save anyone, really.
No,
like he's not in that way. He doesn't really care too much. Like he does occasionally save Liv. He doesn't really do much to help the other ones. He's just like, well, you're here, get on with it then. Your choice to be here. I chose to be here because I've got a deal and I'm doing my job. So he's still just cleaning or playing pinball or drinking while people are dying. So it's not like he's not a hero here in many ways, but it's the fact that he gets on with the job and he does it like that, and then and because he knows what he expects, and when they come back in and he's just like, here I am in my another new top, back in my get my leather jacket back on, and we had a deal basically without saying we had a deal or anything like that. Just like, give me. That's like, holy shit.
And that's it. And then he just gets in the car. Liv ends up going with him, which I thought was like, that's really weird. He just get in the car with this random stranger.
I was fully expecting it because it just felt like that kind of film. The orphan goes off with the weird stranger, which again in your head you're just like, he gives her one of the cans, which again like lots of people might have assumed was beer, but it's not because it says pop on the side. It says pop on the side of it, or soda or whatever. But yeah, it's such a weird thing where some people might read into that, and I don't read it in any other odd way though. It kind of it's like he's taking the order, like, come off and be on my magical mystery tour.
Well, it's just like she's she has no reason to stay in that town. It's a small town. All her friends are dead. Her adopted mum's dead. She has nothing to lose,
Because we get obviously with the owner and where they get offed.
That's the only bit I don't like.
They're so like happy and excited that it's like, it's over, it's over, and then you get the one I was on about
Sarah
before.
Siren,
who kind of has already released the. They don't realise she's covered it in gasoline, basically. And are now like hanging about, kind of thing, to finish them off.
And that's the only bit I don't like. I don't know why. It just seems really like rushed, because she blows up and then the restaurant blows up. And then they drive off and run over Tito.
It was also effects wise, it felt oddly out of place.
It felt. That's it.
It didn't feel quite as. Everything else felt so practical in this film. Didn't feel too CGI. No. And that suddenly felt like an oddly thrown in CGI kind of scene. Yeah,
it felt to me like they were like, oh shit, how can we end it? Oh, one of them could still be alive. Oh, just blow them up, We
blew him up in that salami with the one with him. And you've also got the robot that was outside, though.
He gets run over, doesn't he?
Gets
Tito
there.
turtle
Comes at them and just gets completely destroyed by him, like smashes through him. Do they reverse as well and spin around his body and then go back?
No, I think they just drive him.
He definitely does a spin at some point, though. A lot of the car shots are like, I do wonder, is it stuntman or is it just Nicolas Cage being like, here's the keys, I'm just going to drive around and just shoot me.
Just kills him.
Just keep shooting me.
So go into the social media lounge as always. You can, like I say, every episode or most episodes, we put up the films we're discussing, so you can come and have your say on them at CMTH Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. So Johnny Vassetti said this one was so fun. It hooked me from the beginning, and Nicolas Cage is so cool. The pinball machine lives rent free in my head, rent free. Night of the Living podcast. The film was so goddamn fun. Now, Cage Fighting, who are a bunch of Wolverhampton boys, said it was one of their favourite, and they actually have Willy in the logo, and they are a Nicolas Cage podcast. They actually chatted to Imoy, who was the composer, music editor, and voice of Willy, which is pretty cool. And We Needed Roads. Neil said that he loved it, kept waiting for Cage to say his first line, and then marvelled at the balls to not have him talk, which is awesome.
It's an amazing part of it. It oddly works. It is the case of, this film is, I think, more enjoyable than I actually thought, because I did think this could be really bad.
I expected it to be.
I expected it to be like bad, and yet I properly just had fun with it. I know it's not. This is not a classic piece of filmmaking. This is not. This is almost rude and crude and just mad and crazy, just like you'd expect. But this is exactly what I wanted in many ways from Nicolas Cage. I wanted to see him fight robots.
Hell yeah!
And oddly enough, I didn't realise I wanted to see Nicolas Cage play pinball and clean clean a building for so long.
Yeah.
But those are the highlights. I'd probably get rid of half of the teenage cast.
Yeah.
And just continue to let me just watch him clean for a while. And play pinball and maybe throw in a little bit more of that, like him getting like them trying to pop out of him and him just ignoring them, just walking past them like I don't care about you.
Like, I really respect them committing to him not saying a word, because I was expecting him to either be really over the top, or I kept waiting for one-liners. I kept waiting for something.
Some crazy one like
I was thinking this film's perfect for it.
Exactly.
It's very 80s.
And Nicolas Cage could have totally brought it with lines and stuff like mad-ass lines, but weirdly I think it actually would have brought the film down.
It feels stronger.
It's stronger with him not talking, which is odd, because I in many things he's fantastic with his lines and his crazy-ass lines that he comes up with, but in this case it weirdly raised it, because I was weirdly kind of like, I respect your choice, oddly enough. This makes it stand out, whereas most actors would not give a chance of doing that.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is totally you doing what you want to do, and I'm down for that. I know that might not be the case, that it may have been designed like that, but it just totally felt like, so I felt like Nicolas Cage would be full on like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk. Can you hide my face?
Yeah.
Can you hide my whole body? You can basically just cover me over the whole film.
Just wear like a green.
Can I be one of the? Yeah. Can I be Willy? Can I dress as him the whole film? How about that? Like was his original pitch. I'll be in the costume. Like, well, we kind of don't have a lot of money. Like the reason we get $5 million is because you said you'll star in it.
Yeah.
We'll be like, I'll star in it in the costume. We kind of need to see you.
Yeah.
Or at least you need to be the voice of the costume. I'm not talking.
Yeah, I'm not saying a word. What do you want?
I'm not saying a goddamn. I envision this as it. So Willy needs to talk because he's meant to be an animatronic. Okay, all right.
I'm not being Willy.
I'm not being Willy. I'll be a silent janitor. As in, you do something in the film. No, I'll just stand in the corner as a silent janitor. I'll play pinball.
Yeah, I loved it. Man. It's so good, and I don't know. There's just something about it. Like, so apparently there's talks of a sequel, which I'm completely open for, but I wonder how they would do it.
I was more thinking I was watching it going, I could follow this character more, but it wouldn't be the same thing. It would be like basically his character in a different horror setting.
I'd be up for that, yeah.
Like basically follow his character as he gets into another wacky adventure, basically. So it's not another like Five Nights at Freddy ripoff. It's a completely different thing. Him v zombies,
that'd be awesome.
Him v vampires, him v I don't know, him v some odd creatures from the lagoon.
I would love that.
So that's what I mean. Like I could follow him just basically being like he's not a supernatural hunter because he doesn't seem to have any interest in getting in the situation, but he'll get himself out of the situation. Yeah. Basically, I could follow him like that, just him driving around in his car, basically constantly ending up in some weird supernatural situation.
Yeah, and just having to.
And that's it. And that's all you need. As long as, and again, I assume he'll just have to have a pinball machine somewhere nearby. And he'll have to have his special brand of soda in order to survive the night. But no, this was a pleasant surprise of a film.
Yeah,
it is more fun than you think, and if you want to just pass an hour and a half easily, then just pop it on. You'll like it way more than you expect. And again, I'm not trying to justify this as great. To some people this will be absolute shit.
Of course,
but this is a trash Nicolas Cage film for them. But if you like Nicolas Cage, and especially like crazy Nicolas Cage or just off the chains kind of thing, then you'll be fully in for this film.
Yeah, no, I could definitely. I think this will be like a rainy day favourite. One of those films where you can just watch it many times. It's not going to win any awards, but not all movies need to. It's just a fun film. It's filled with.
I was going to say that Five Nights at Freddy has a lot to live up to, but then in my head, actually, Five Nights at Freddy doesn't have to be like this film because we don't have to have Matthew Lillard destroying robots and stuff like that.
I think he's got to voice one of the bad guys. That's what I've heard.
Oh, is he the voice? I thought he was actually in it.
That's what I've heard. He's got to be voicing, or he's got to be the bad guy.
It's my fault that I basically wanted Shaggy being chased by.
I
just want Scooby-Doo 3. I'm still disappointed to this day that we won't get that film.
Maybe one day. I'm pretty pleased that we got through this whole episode without saying beat Willy, or he beat Willy off, or something like that. You know.
I mean, we had we had the Willy, we had Salami, we had many moments that we could have got into, but yeah, I feel like we've actually kept up for such an odd, crazy film. We've been quite good boys.
We have been very good boys. Well, I guess that's it for Willy's Wonderland. If you've enjoyed the show, then please leave us a lovely review. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, put a 5-star and just put beats off Willy. Hit the subscribe button. And we will see you next week. Come and find us on Twitter and Instagram at CMTH Podcast. Stay safe and avoid going to any animatronic restaurants. Goodbye.